Hey, hey, Facebook Live. What I'm doing is I'm doing this video, quick live, because I was walking home and I saw this beautiful pine tree. I'm gonna turn it around. My neighbor has this beautiful pine tree, and you can see all of the blooms that are coming forth on the tree. So it's about that time. Of course, people who have pollen issues and allergies will hate this tree because the pollen is going to just, overtake their sinuses, and it's going to be all kinds of issues. Hey, Tina. Hey, Serena. But what's going to happen is this tree is going to dump all of the yellow pollen all over our cars. But what I want you to see is the culprit of the yellow part that comes on your car is this here. This is going to be the flower or the bloom from the pine tree. Okay, so now the reason why I'm doing this video is for two reasons. One, to harvest the pine needles. Hey, to harvest the pine needles, and then two, to give you a quick explanation about the benefits of pine pollen. Okay, so now first of all, you notice that these flowers are blooming, and anytime you begin to have a plant that blooms or is coming to seed, that means that all of the energy that is in the tree is going to making the seed or the bloom. Okay, so that means that anything that's close to the bloom is pretty potent. So you see the pine needles that are just here below where it's beginning to seed. These pine needles have a lot more medicinal value than the pine needles that are furthest away from the seed, from the bloom. Now, if you look here, when it was wintertime, here's some pine cones. When it was wintertime, they had more pine cones, no blooms, and those pine needles were pretty good. They were pretty good for the tea that I was making. Hey, Angelica, but these here are far more potent. And it's coming into the time of the year, new season, spring is coming, so this is new life. Now, I'm going to talk about one of the reasons why I'm called an herbal intuitive, or why I have been given that title, herbal intuitive. So I don't know a whole lot about pine. I know that pine needles are good. I know that they make good tea and they're very medicinal. You can do pine needle tea to help with your stomach, to help with various stomach digestive issues and things of that nature. But I was walking home and looking at this tree, and the first thing I thought was, oh, it's going to bloom, which means it's getting ready to give birth, right? And so I didn't quite understand why I heard distinctly pick the flowers, right? So I walk home and I look up what it means, what these actually meant and what that meant. All I knew is that Spirit was saying for me to come and pick. Here's a bloom. Well, actually, yeah, this is where the bloom is. Spirit was saying, yes, it has a lot of vitamin C, Sultana. Yes, it's great antioxidant, high in vitamin C. It's good. It helps to slow the aging process. But I heard distinctly to pick the flower, pick the blooms. Now, if you see them, they're not quite ready. We'll know when they're ready because our cars start turning yellow, and I'm gonna come back out here. But I found out that the pollen from the pine needles are high in what I call it helps in the development of testosterone in the body. So it was just amazing how high it was. The quality of DHEA that is in the pollen, within the pollen of the flowers, helps with men with low or sluggish libido. It helps with male pattern baldness. It helps with digestion. It helps slow the aging process, and then likewise it helps women with the same thing. So if you're suffering with androgenic issues, because the pollen in here is androgenic. So if you have hyperandrogenic problems, that means it's overactive, which will lead to that higher around your waist, that very heavy middle stomach that women get. You'll have hair on your lip and on your chin. You'll also have baldness in some women, and then some women will get that deep voice. So as you age, these things begin to happen when you have too much testosterone in your system. So this one here will help you, help men if their testosterone and or women's estrogen is too low. So the pollen from the pine tree, when it's ripe, will help women. Again, women, when they have sluggish estrogen, it will be able to help the body assimilate and produce estrogen to boost up the ability to recreate hair. So this here, they're not ready yet. I'm not ready to pick them yet. But this here will help in that. So you could take these blooms here. Once that pollen gets into it really good, you can take the blooms, crush them up, create a powder, macerate them, create a powder, and use the powder as a tonic to put into your drink. But check with your doctors first. Don't get it twisted. Check with your doctors. Talk to folks first. Right. Thank you, sis. Thank you, Sultana. Hey, Khalid. Listen, also, you could do that. Now, if you want to use the powder, say you're in a love relationship and one of the partners or both of the partners are having problems with dealing with low libido or your sexual desires and things of that nature, get a collection of pine needle powder or pine pollen and use it in a tea and tonic for the both of you or for the one who needs it, and also use it as part of a ritual where you could use it, burn it on powder, burn it on charcoals, or put it into something and put it into the earth, into a canister or whatever, and put it into the earth and use it as the ability to help with reproduction, to help with desires and bind one to each other. So these are great here. Now, the pine needle in and of itself, like Sultana said, and someone else said, that it is high in vitamin C. So right here, these are the richest, most potent pine needles because they're closest to the bloom right here. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. I talked to my neighbor. He said it was fine for me to pick some of the pine needles, or much of it, because it's hanging over. And he also told me that this pine tree that's growing here in his yard, he's had it for 10 years and he grew it from a seed. So he's had this in his yard. So it has a lot of staying power and longevity, has a lot of life in it. So this pine tree, when I make my pine needle tea and I sell pine needle tea, most of the people who order the pine needle tea, the needles come from this tree right here. So I just want you to know that this is harvested naturally, and the grower in his yard, he's actually a grower. He has a greenhouse in his yard and everything, so he's awesome. So I will be picking these, and they come off really easily. I mean, you can actually just push back and then they come right off. So that part right there, generally when I get the pine needles, I'll cut that little tip off there, and then I'll just put the whole pine needle in water, or I'll dry them. And they can be dried in a brown paper bag. Just, put a bunch of them in a brown paper bag, punch a hole in it, a couple of holes so it can get some air, and then dry them over the next couple of days or a week. Sharing you right now on Life Solutions. Great resources. Oh, thanks, Eva. Love you. Also make sure the pine tree is not on a main road because they spray chemicals. Right, you're absolutely right, Sultana. And this is within the subdivision. We are off from a main road, but this tree in it of itself is within the subdivision. So I think it's far enough away from the main road that it would be okay. Also, let's see, I think that's about it. So I'm getting ready to pick these. I do have some scissors, but I'm just not going to use the scissors. They pull off really easily. Hey, C-Dub, how you doing? So yeah, they pull off really easily. That's all I wanted to share with you guys. So moving forward in the next couple of days, let's see, in the next couple of weeks, probably in about a week or two, maybe the tree would have developed a little bit more and give me some pine pollen, and then in that I will take the pine let's see. I would take the little pieces of pine flour, and then I'll macerate them, grind them up, get the powder from it, and use it for us to, for many of us who are aging, who have a lull in desire. I mean, I don't. I'm just saying, but I'm just for many of us who as we age, we begin to oxidize, dry up, and we get old. And so this is a great tonic. This is going to make a great tonic. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to use them as in a tonic, and then I'm also going to use it in powder. So you can add it to smoothies and drinks and things of that nature. So you guys check me out. MamaSunfire.com is my website. Also, you can go to any Facebook page, Mama Sunfire or Sunfire Apothecary is where I'm going to post it when I get through making it. So it's going to take a little while because I'm going to actually do the tincture over a long period of time. And then I'm going to do the powder as well. Also, I'm thinking about adding the powder to some castor oil maybe and making a hair tonic. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. I may have to do the extract and make it so I can add it to a tonic for the hair, spray for the hair. So we will see. We will see. And that's about a hey, Daphne, how are you? Thank you, Sultana. Appreciate it. Love you, girl. Get back in contact with me, Sultana, and let me know how things are going with what we talked about. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to get in contact with me, and you know where to find me. Smooches. Bye-bye.